My question follows on from yesterday. That it was quite an eventful experience, in fact an extraordinary experience, the meditation in the morning. It took me back to a question I'd asked myself some 40 years ago. And the question I'd asked myself is, what is it like to die? That experience answered that question, which was quite a gift.
Yes.
When the question arose originally, it was met with terror in the mind, to such a degree of terror I'd never experienced before. And that traumatic experience is what drove me into the School of Economic Science and the study that we have. In a way, I've been looking for that answer for 40 years, and I had to come here to meet you to get that answer to the question, which I thank you. The response of the body didn't like it, and you indicated that may happen again. What is the question I have is, what is the process for the dissolution of that aspect, which is an imaginary aspect, but has a tremendous pull? Does it dissolve? Is the abiding in being, as you indicated, dissolves trauma? Does that dissolve this belief of the separate self?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, it dissolves it in a very experiential way. Not just the belief in the separate self, but the feeling of being a separate self. Yes.
I discovered at the beginning of this week that at the deepest level, the feeling is one of unity and universality. The concept of duality is in the mind. It's not in the base. It's not in the fundamental feeling that one has.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So it's almost like an emotion. It's a feeling with a script to it.
Yes. Yes. If we were able to ask infinite, as we have done this week, if we were able to ask infinite being, what is your experience of yourself? It would never mention division or anything finite. It would never mention an other. And it's for that reason that I suggested that in a couple of days, I think it was yesterday, that from our point of view, we describe the nature of being as the nature of infinite being as love, because from our point of view, we do know the experience of separation. By contrast with the experience of otherness or separation, the nature of being is the absence of separation, which is the experience of love. But from being's experience of itself, it doesn't have the experience of separation, and therefore it doesn't need to define itself with reference to separation. So in its own experience of itself, it would never call itself love. It's only from our limited points of view that we call itself love. Love implies the possibility that there is something other than love, namely separation. But from its point of view, it is prior to both love and separation. Although it is legitimate as a concession to each of our minds to speak of it as love. But it is prior to love, prior to peace, prior to everything. There's no world there. It knows no world. It knows no form. It knows no self. It knows no... Remember Meister Eckhart, when I am able to establish myself in nothing, and nothing in myself, exposing and dissolving everything that is within me, then I can pass into the naked being of God, which is the naked being of the Spirit. So it's this passing into the absolute nothingness, or what from the point of view of the finite mind is absolute nothingness. That is God's experience of itself. That is God's being, our essential being. And it feels like a death to the separate self. It is a kind of death to the separate self.
And the notion that one is a separate self, that's being threatened, is that in fact a habit that one's acquired over the...
Yes, we've been educated to believe this, and then we've been rehearsing this belief for decades. So it's a strong habit, yes. And that this belief, this habitual belief, then has a counterpart in our body as feelings. So our feelings and beliefs together work to substantiate this illusory separate self. So that is why, although the separate self is an illusion, it's a very powerful one. And it's why we have to go back again and again and again and again to our true nature. And every time we do, we just weaken that belief a little bit more. It gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And the weaker that belief gets, the more established we are able to be in being, as being. Until at some point we move in, we make our home there.
We can get the idea that when the illusion of the separate self disappears, that everything else disappears, but that's not true. One's own nature, in fact, is able to blossom better.
Yes, because the belief and feeling of separation is a restriction on our true nature. Yes, that's why everyone here is such a unique and eccentric character, because true individuality flourishes with this understanding. The ego is a suppressing and conforming agent in society, standardising everybody's thoughts and feelings. So here, as the ego diminishes, the impersonal, infinite being that we essentially are then flourishes in the character, and the character then becomes, the character flourishes, it becomes a unique, that's what individuality means, a unique expression, a unique individual expression of our shared being. So yes, our character flourishes as a result of this understanding, whatever that means for each of us, which is why when you get a group of people together who are deeply interested, as we all are in these matters, you get these beautiful, colourful, quirky characters.
Thank you very much, Rupert. Thank you very much for your help and your love.